tech company then, like, and just getting into positions of like such high power as a female. Did you find it tough? Like, did you, who was it, who was harder to deal with, the women or the men in your career?
Both.
What were the differences?
Well, you see, you had men that were, there were men that were, I would say, what would you say? They were trying to push ahead themselves. So they didn't like someone coming up the side. And as well, I wasn't the norm. So if I had a boss who, he may have thought I was good, but I wasn't, I was the different choice. Because I was female, I wasn't a representation of the customer either. You know, the customer was predominantly male. So I had bosses who I definitely knew for sure who they didn't push me forward. But then equally, I found fantastic bosses who did, both male and female. So it kind of went both ways, to be honest with you. But the big people who pushed me forward were men primarily, you know, because there wasn't that many women at those levels either. You know, now I had one fantastic female boss, and she really pushed me forward. Marie, she's probably listening, but I had fantastic male bosses who identified something in me and then pulled me forward. But a lot of those weren't even working directly with me. It came through, I would have met them at an event, or they would have seen me in a presentation, or I would have applied for a job I knew I wouldn't get, but I knew these people would see me who hadn't seen me before. And that was really actually the turning point for me. Was I went for a job that was based in the Netherlands, and it was a key account director role. I knew I wouldn't get it because I didn't speak Dutch, and that was a requirement, but I still went for it. And I knew as well, you know, that I wasn't really in with that customer. I think didn't have the relationships. But I did a presentation, and I remember afterwards, one of the gentlemen on the presentation, he was a really senior person within the company, senior person globally. And he said to me, he said, "Zelia, you're a star." He said, "You've got something that you brought, this fresh perspective that I didn't see in any other interview." And he said, "But look, it's just not your time, but something will change." And after that, I was identified as one of the high performing talents within the company. Then I got a fantastic role as being on the Young Advisory Board for the global CEO, which was my dream. I actually, that now when I was thinking back about what I would have manifested, I wasn't really, I would say, an official manifester, but that's something I always wanted. I was like, I have to get on that 5. So there would be 5 people picked every year out of 120,000 employees, young people, who could give this different perspective. And it was fantastic. My mentor was a global CTO, global strategy officer. It was, oh my God, it was an absolute dream. And to be in presenting to the board of this company. Now, I was nervous today, but my God, I was really nervous then. I remember the night before we to do our first presentation. Oh my God, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I just thought I was going to throw up. I mean, it was absolutely horrendous. I lost half my clothes in my bag. I still don't know how that happened. Can't trace where they were, the clothes I was supposed to be wearing. I mean, I was like a lunatic. And it was just presenting, we attended the top 250. That was it. It was the leadership conference for the top 250 in the company. So we got to meet the top 250. And I was like, so that was the next thing. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be in the top 250. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to be in the top 250. And so I suppose naturally I started making this path for myself. And then when you're in that circle of people, you actually believe it. You're like, yeah, why shouldn't I be here? Yeah. You know, you kind of get an air of confidence about yourself and a buzz, like a real buzz out of it.
Yeah, I completely get that. I think it's all about who you're surrounding yourself with.
Yes.
And sometimes you know what the other people are like and you're like, "Oh, well if they can do it, I can definitely do it."
Exactly.
You know, and
exactly.
it is and even to this day, it's who you're surrounding yourself with.
Yeah.
Like what kind of people. I get even when people come into the podcast studio, whatever they're doing, all the entrepreneurs, I get such a buzz off them.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, we can all do it.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, I go home and I'm like,
I know, I'm
Zelia on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Zelia, Agnes, can you please help me out here? I'm thinking of packing it all in. I don't know what I'm doing with myself.
I know. It swings and roundabouts for sure. But I think even in those situations, for me, it wasn't a case of, oh, if they could do it, I could do it. It was more a case of they were actually giving me confidence because they were there. Oh, Zelia, that was really great. And, you know, and that's what I think more people need to do more of. You know,
but it's someone else believing in you,
exactly,
which helps you believe in yourself.
Tell them, you know, not enough people, and even people I work with today, I see it, they don't say it. And I'm like, would you tell them how great they are? Tell them they did a good job, even if it's a little thing, because it makes a huge difference, especially to women, because we're always very critical. And I know we shouldn't say men are this and women are this, but the more I've reflected back on the last number of years, I really do. We are naturally critical, you know, and we think the worst. And I see it now with younger graduates coming into the organisations that I help out, and even people more mid-level to senior level. They still won't put themselves forward. They're always self-critical. Whereas the guys will jump into it. They'll be like, put the hand up. Oh, I'm ready. Why can't I have the job? You know, why aren't I? I'm brilliant, you know?
Yeah.
And now you have as well, obviously, very quiet individuals as well, men as well. So we've to be conscious of all. But definitely, I think when I did that young advisory board, that was it. I was on fire. I was like, the world is my oyster now, you know, that's it. But from then I went into more sales roles, and I had a big VP job. I was a global head of a huge part of a customer account, responsible for nearly $500 million, which was massive, yeah. And now I was sweating when they said to me, and now I had applied for the job, but when they said you got it, I was like, oh gee, I didn't expect to get it. Yeah. Now what'll I do?
It's amazing though that you put yourself out there for things that you actually genuinely thought, I probably won't get this, but I'm putting myself in the right room anyway.
Yeah.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah. No, I think it does, because you meet people and you don't know. Like this, I keep saying to people, and I suppose now I see it from the perspective of a board of a company and having been a CEO, is that you don't know all the cogs that are turning in the background. You just don't know really what's going on from a really high level strategic perspective. You don't know if the chairman or the CEO is talking to somebody about buying a new company. You don't know that you might not be there running that division. You know, you have to put yourself out there, because it's like you say, Yvonne, it's the why, not the how. Yeah. You really don't know how. You don't know what's going on in the background. So I think you have to just put yourself out there at every opportunity.